Would you mind like if I post it live and let's ignore not a problem.
Ankit sir, I'm not comfortable with
Okay,
that.
not a problem, not problem. Okay. Yeah.
So there
So
were some questions like that. And in one of the interview, they asked me to write a piece of code where they want to get the immediate manager, sorry, the last manager of a particular user. What
last
does it
manager,
mean? Yes, last manager. What I mean by last manager? For example, user A,
top hierarchy,
yeah,
basically.
topmost hierarchy, correct.
Okay, got it. Basically,
And
you can't go more than 4 level actually. Or if you have to go there, then you will have to do a recursion.
correct. So actually, I write the entire code. I did the recursion. And I did the recursion only. So he told me you should not use recursion and you should also not run the query in the loop.
Actually, then what you will have to do is like for each of the, but there will be limitation on the top of hierarchy then.
Correct. So because even on the top of hierarchy, we cannot do it. It could be like, for example, there are 10, 20 or more roles like on the hierarchy, then it would be tough to do that. So,
No, there's one way actually I'm thinking of live on the
mhm,
go. First, what
mhm.
we'll do is like we'll query those manager where the manager lookup is actually empty,
Correct.
and then we'll do an inner query where that criteria is matching in.
Still, we cannot do it. Na? For example, we get the manager where the manager ID is empty. So that is the
The
last
let
manager
us the
of the
top hierarchy, yes.
top
And
hierarchy.
then we have to find out like for a particular user, like suppose there's like by the name Amit, there's like means you can say an associate whose end manager is, oh yeah, we'll have to actually there's a would be limitation around the number of levels basically.
Correct. Correct. So for that, there is an alternate way to solve it.
But
He only told me that answer. I did it properly with the recursion. I write the complete code, and he was okay with that code, and he just don't want it in recursion. That's it. And the logic I applied the same where the end manager ID is not null. So what I was doing, I was fetching the current manager of the user
yeah,
and passing that calling that method again where I'm passing the manager ID and getting the manager again. And the loop will
yeah, it would be actually recursion, then also it's a problem, right?
correct. So he suggested me a way, and the possible solution for that is like create every user
One
in a
more
set.
field, grandchild. Basically,
Eh,
create another field which is called grandchild.
no. Grandchild will work for 3 levels. Now, for example, there are 20
No, no,
levels.
no. Like, uh, there's actually a way parent, and then like on the account, like suppose just we can replicate the same use means consider it like account and parent account. You also maintain like grandparent account. Sorry, yeah, grandparent. You also create that lookup. So you will have to apply the checks on either of them. Yes. One second, let me just see like, but it's actually a tough one. He asked.
So I was able to answer that, and then he suggested me a way to do it to get all the users in the org, okay,
Hmm.
and store that in a map,
Hmm.
and then do the same thing in a loop.
Ah, ah,
So in this
that's
way, the query will not execute again and again and again.
okay.
So that this is the smartest way to do that.
That way is always there. Um, but that's actually not efficient. Like imagine number of
Huh,
records you would be
cor-
querying in,
correct.
and then
Then
the time taken. Like if your query, if your total data set is large, means ideally it won't be more than that. It's agree, but then also it's like kind of inefficient.
but it's better than calling the queries again and again. Na?
Yeah, got it. That's a good learning.
Hmm. This one, and again, there was a question where I have to write a trigger. So whenever the phone number is being changed, then update that phone number in the account or opportunity. It was like that only. So whenever the
Okay.
phone number is being changed in the contact field,
Okay.
update the latest phone number. And I explained him we can do it by the flow and trigger, and then he asked me to write the
Trigger.
piece of code, yes, trigger for that. And he told me to apply all the best practices. So I did all that.
Okay.
Even though, so that I have done. So for that I have used the Boolean variable for the, in order to
Avoid recursion.
to avoid recursion. I even created
His
a
his his next question would be like, this would fail after 200 records.
correct, obviously. So
I was
create,
kind of expecting that. That is a
ha,
normal.
ha,
Anybody would ask that. So the right way of
correct.
doing that is actually through the custom setting.
Or we can store a map or sort of thing where we are checking these all are done and these all are the remaining ones. So we'll do it.
Yeah. But ideally, like if you go to the trigger framework by V Kevin, I will just show one trigger framework. Kevin. Basically, he uses the custom setting only to avoid the custom this one. I will just paste that link shortly.
Your screen is not visible.
Yeah, it
Sure.
won't be visible. Actually, I've not shared that. I'm not sharing the
Okay.
screen. I was just exploring around that. This was the one we used earlier. And there's one more by Jigar. Sorry, by this one, Jitendra. We'll see like which is better. Like earlier, I have seen the code means both are available on this one GitHub. Yeah, I will just double check that like it is the best one, and then we'll send the link. So the next question means apart from this, what did he ask?
These are the codes that I have to write, and again few for there is one company, it is a big MNC. For that I have given the interview, and again in that they took the interview for the LWC. Even though I was not very familiar with the LWC, but
Hmm.
since I have worked in JavaScript and AngularJS, and I know basics of programming concept pretty well.
Yeah.
So he asked me several questions. For example, we want to update, we want to check how many time a user have visited a page.
Okay.
Who all are visiting the page, that information we want to capture. How we can do it.
Basically, yeah. Basically, you have to use the action tag
Mm-hmm.
on the like earlier we used to have the VF page. So and the catch is on the constructor you can't have the DML.
Mm-hmm.
The catch is around that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to use the action tag earlier we used to do, but now with LWC, I think you can directly create a method and call it imperatively.
So what I have told him, uh, we can create a new record means new object where where we will be storing the information who is visited, when that particular page is visited, means who and when. These two
Huh.
information you need. So I'll create a object and I'll create a record of those objects. So whenever user that particular page is loaded, then we can
Do
store the
the
information.
DML.
Yes. And again, he asked how will you identify the page is loaded and this particular page is there? So I told him if we are writing the Aura component, we can do it in the init method, and we'll
Yeah,
have the current record ID, and also
yeah,
we'll have the user ID. And
yeah,
for time spent, we can use the standard date time field. Then we can do it, and in the Aura component, sorry, in LWC, we can do it in the connected callback,
yes,
and we can write a piece of code in the connected callback, and then we can call our apex imperatively. If this is not the case, we can create a different method, and we can just call that method in the connected callback. So whenever the connected callback will load, it will call that particular method, and that particular method will call a method in the apex, and then apex class will create a record.
yeah,
So I told her there are several ways to do it. So this was one of the questions, and there were pretty more. How if I want to render some data in the LWC component, I want to show the pick list values.
yeah.
How would I do that?
Combo box, I think you can use that.
So I have told her that it could be done in three different ways. We can create a combo box and we can get the detail, or we can use the lightning edit form, LDF.
Okay,
Basically, then we will have by default these value. If we choose that particular field name only, so we'll have the value and we'll have all the pick list. If this is not the case, we can explicitly define it in the, if you want to hard code something or something like that, we have the global pick list or something. Then we can query that and we can store it in some,
not a
uh,
problem. Don't need to do so much load.
yes,
So then we can directly use the Lightning data service to
that's
get
what I
the.
told. That's what I told, and I give him three, four different ways so that she will be aware that I know the things. So I told her we can fetch it, we can store it in a list or set, then we can use the li tag, and or then we can iterate through that list. Basically, in the combo works, we can iterate through the list, and then we'll have a pick list field to
Yeah,
select.
or we can
But
create a, and we can also do the custom HTML, means regular HTML, also we can write it.
that's
That's the
what
very
that
crude way. That's the very much crude way.
yes. So these three things I told her. Literally these three things, like combo box, this data
Like this
parameter.
this question actually doesn't make much sense actually to me.
Mhm. And so I was just trying, whenever I was giving the answer, I got selected in that. So what I did, there are the two most the interview tip I want to give to everyone, if anyone is listening, that. So whenever you know the answer, just try to elaborate it as much as you can so that they'll ask less number of questions.
Yeah, actually, this is actually a good tip. Like I too have applied that one. Like when I gave interview in TCS,
Mm-hmm.
they just asked me about test.stop test. I explained to them all the things like we have the start test, we have the stop test, we have the test setup, everything. I
Mm-hmm.
told everything about test class I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Then she
Correct.
was then the panel was like, how do you know in that much detail all of those? I was like, I
Mhm.
prepared for PG too, so I should be knowing that obviously.
Correct. So, yes, regarding the test class, I also, one of the interview, they asked me.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you here, Satyam. One more point, like I want to add, like in
Mhm.
your calculation, like whenever you're writing the trigger a code, whenever the means in the panel or interviews, they ask you to do that.
Mhm.
Always use the trigger context variables like trigger.new or trigger.new
Yes,
map.
yes.
Yes, if you by chance use the trigger.new only and create a custom map, they might reject you. They might think like you don't know these context variables at all.
Always. Like even, see, I have seen so many, I would say, not the videos or the PDF where I was preparing for. They have done so many of redundant things. For example, they are fetching the account ID. For example, they want to query the account. So what they
Yeah.
were doing, they were iterating the contact and then getting the account ID and then doing a separate query in the
I've seen
account.
this. I've seen this such crap also multiple times. And I
Yes,
was like, why do you need to do that?
correct, correct. So instead of creating new set, always try to reduce your
The
number of
number of
queries.
queries. Yeah.
Yes,
Use the
do
relationship basically. Yeah. Mohan, I
correct,
think you have a question here,
correct.
it seems.
Mhm. So
Uh,
whenever we do that, so
one second, Satyam. I think Mohan
oh,
has a question here, I think. You have raised
oh,
a hand.
Yeah, hello sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, like as a fresher, I am a learning trigger. So I have spent like 2 months on trigger, but still I have a difficulty. I'm not getting confident on trigger.
Basically, what things you are not confident? Just the. Have you read about SFDC 99 blog or heard about that, Mohan?
No, sir, like I like my background was not in the
No,
software
no,
field.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is like, while you were preparing for trigger, have you heard about SFDC 99?
No, I have not heard about that.
That's a wonderful blog written by means it's the means it's kind of the content is published by a Googler David Louis. He's a
So can you tell me
golden
once again?
SFDC
SFDC 99.
99. Yeah, I will just paste that link. Not a problem.
So whenever I
He's a
used to
one.
watch,
Yeah, he's wonderful guy.
okay. So sir, I whenever I used to watch YouTube video and take help from there, so I couldn't get the exact things. Like I am not able to see that anyone is explaining each and everything. So they are explaining like you like the other person know everything. So that is why I'm facing difficulties.
No, my question. Let's be more granular here. Are you getting confused when to use the before trigger or when to use after trigger, or what is the actual doubt you have?
In the logic part, I got
Take some
confused and
scenario.
also at the
Take some scenario.
yeah like I can say that whenever contact is created on the account,
mm,
so contact is created.
mm,
So if a duplicate email is there,
mm.
so you will not able to
Save the contact.
create. So this is a simple one, but based on that,
Yeah.
whenever I have to use a list map set, I got confused like when I have to use list, when I have to use set, when I have
Oh,
to
okay.
uh,
See,
map
in
like
order
that.
to that, in order to understand that, you have to understand about these collections. So if I talk about set, it store the unique values. Okay,
Yeah,
unique values.
I would.
yeah, that basic I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That a basic I know. Already
No.
I told you I spent 2 months on the
Mhm,
trigger.
No.
mhm,
No. No.
mhm,
So then let me take that. So
mhm.
basically, two things here. I would recommend like always use map unless regardless of whatever you need, you create a map. The advantage is like from map, always you can get the list anytime you need.
Okay,
Second thing is like whenever you are dealing with any kind of scenarios like that, be very much first you prepare in your mind what is the trigger point. Is it is on which object
okay,
and how will that interaction happen? Like suppose we talked about like you just said the scenario like whenever the contact is updated, it should be reflected on the account.
okay.
So the trigger point is on which object? It's on contact, right?
Contact, yeah.
And for going to from contact to account, can you go in there directly?
Directly, I will
Sorry,
not say. I will not say directly.
why? Can't you go get it through underscore means contact dot account ID? You can get those account IDs.
Yeah, yeah.
So that
We
is
have to
simple.
use for loop.
Why? See, there's no always we don't need a for loop at all.
Okay.
So that's what I was trying to explain, Ankit. First of all, you have to complete you all the basics, then integrate all the basics all together. So what is happening with you? I have, many of my friends which were facing the same issue. So what is happening? You don't know the one thing and you're implementing it in another thing. That may create the issue. Here, you should be very clear about the FOQL things. Can you get the account data from the contact? If you have the contact ID, can you get the entire data of the account?
Entire data of account.
Hmm.
You can get that.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. By the help of like parent-child SOQL, I can get.
That is what Ankit was asking.
Yeah, so you can always get that. And here,
So
like, we don't need to append or based on the existing whatever is the contact account information. Uh,
Yeah,
so what you can do is like you can directly do an update like using the account ID field of the contact itself. Like suppose I'm on the contact record, okay, and I need to just update. Like let me just open Notepad. I will just show a simple scenario, very much simple. Mm, Uh, give me 1 second. See, suppose taking into account this one. Suppose this one. Okay, I query the account ID. Okay. Just look at this query. I will just post it in new one. And if I need to do updates on account, then I don't need to do write a query again. What I can really do is can just put it like this. Wait a second. Let me just do that because I want like all of yours basic should be clear. Basic what I want. Otherwise, what would
yeah.
happen? Like at the end, you would be unnecessarily doing so many queries. See, like here, I wanted to do an update on accounts. Did I query the account explicitly? I am querying just the contact object and update I wanted was on account. I did it directly. I have the ID, so I can definitely put that ID. I can populate this ID and put in whatever value I wanted to update. Make
Okay.
some sense. Make some sense. Can someone please acknowledge? Hello, are you all clear?
Yeah. Sir. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we are
Okay.
clear with this. Even we
Yeah.
can avoid that account list. We can write this query in the follow-up itself. So we have to
Why?
do
Why? Yeah, we can means yeah. Even this variable is also not needed.
yes,
Yeah,
not
and
needed.
one more catch. Like when you have the very large set of volume of data, it's recommended you do it by this one because here it's like lazy loading. Have you heard about lazy loading anytime?
No.
This is an oops concept. Read about oops. That's what I always say. Always stick to your roots. And the base of our programming is always oops and solid principles. So never forget those. Yeah, what would happen is like automatically it would if the size is more it would query limited number of records and then it would do an inner side. Have you heard about query more method? Query and query more?
No, sir.
No, this is
No.
another method. Like when you have like read about it. Just say basically what happens is like in one go whatever data is coming in, next set of data you want, then you call the query mode method.
Let me give him a daily example sort of thing.
Yeah,
For
I would say
example, you
like,
are on site.
yeah,
Pagination. Have you heard about the
exactly. I was
pagination?
about to say pagination.
Yes, yes. Um, what is his name? Mohan. Have you heard
Yeah,
about
yeah.
pagination?
No,
No. Okay,
no,
okay. So
Have you,
for
sir,
example,
let's
there are
go to our live site. Let's give live example.
uh,
Uh,
search for some product, na.
yeah, I will see. Even this is a kind of pagination. It's not like all the data
Okay.
is coming in one go. It's like everywhere, or even sometimes it's implemented as a kind of scroll. That's called infinite loading.
Google Images. You can quickly go to Google Images and maybe, or you can search some product in this site, and then you have the page. Pagination is like, for example, there are 100 records, and you are on first page. You can see only 10 records. Then you click on next. You will have another 10 records. Click on next, another 10 records. Click on
Yeah,
next, another 10 records. So this is basically called pagination. How many records you want to render at a time on a particular page.
okay, okay.
I hope now you understood that
Yeah,
pagination.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So query mode is very useful for such
pagination.
implementation.
Sorry, query more?
Yeah, query mode. That's a method.
Okay.
Is very useful in such scenarios.
Actually,
Very good.
there's just one aspect to that. There are actually multiple aspects, like when we talk about pagination. So, do you know about offset and limit clause in the query?
Yeah, limit I know, like we have to restrict the number of like the record, whatever I want to
Op-
query.
and offset is like the query mode thing which we are talking about. That is very similar to that. Like for example, if we set offset to 10, it will give 10 first record. Then we again execute the query. It will give 10 more. Right? Again.
Yes, basically what happens is like, say there are, let me just show you pictorially. Say there is one records account A1, A2, A3, A5, A6. Let's say offset means limit is say 2 and offset is 1. So first time the query would be running in, so it would be returning me A1, and sorry, offset would be 1. So it would start with A2 and A3. Why it would skip the A1? Because I've told it explicitly like you have to, the offset is 1. So after the first one is gone, then it would go to the next one. Did I make some sense, or is it, did it went completely bouncer? Can you please respond?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So basically, whenever we set any number of offset, then the top records of those would be removed, and it would query the next set of records which are mentioned in the limit clause.
Correct.
And there's a limit for that as well. After 2000 records, it would break. Offset doesn't work after 2000. 2000 or 5000, I don't recollect. 2000. Yeah, I thought like I knew that.
सही है भाई.
So this is one way. And sometimes you might be asked like, what is the way around that? So there's an option of standard set controller. I read about it in when I was doing the PD one. It gives you all the pagination methods. It would allow the for more than around 50,000 records, you can do the pagination with this. But it only supports one object. Like suppose you are having the data only of one object. Then you can use this one. nowadays, but people have kind of avoided it and try to use it more on the front end side. They query limited data and use the offset for some of those cases.
So, so Ankit, like can you tell me like how I have to use like SF SF DC99? Like you told that for the
Yeah,
trigger you should follow that. So can you tell me how I should follow? Like I'm not able to
SQL.
get it. Yeah, not SQL for trigger.
Yeah, trigger. There's like that's like a rule on the SOTC
Hmm?
99. There's like if you go to Apex Academy, there's like trigger. You can go to Apex do the center Apex Academy course. I would say.
Center Academy.
Sorry.
I think ऊपर एक बिगनर ट्यूटोरियल्स करके ऑप्शन है वहां
हाँ
पर
उसके अरे वो वहाँ का
एपेक्स
ही
में
Beginner
जाके
tutorials. Yeah,
हाँ
beginner
it's the
tutorials.
same thing. It's
Yeah.
the same thing only.
यहाँ
See,
पे आई थिंक फ्री गाइड है
everything is there actually. The rule is very much simple. First thing you do is like unless if it is on the same object, always go for before triggers. If
Yeah.
suppose it is cross object, go for after triggers.
And also some limitation or a validation is there in,
Then you go for it before.
yeah. So what is that? Can you explain that?
Before trigger.
Yeah. No, no. So for the before trigger, like some validation or limitation in case of validation or limitation, and also on the same object, if uh, anything we have to do. So at that time we used to before. So what is
Yes.
that? The first one validation or limitation?
Yeah, validation is around like you have the method of add error. Dot add error is a method that is available. So you basically add the error to that one. So what happens when that code would get executed at the UI level, Salesforce would show that message in red.
Okay, okay.
You have to
Ankit,
add, yeah,
one sorry to interrupt. I got one more interview question I remember just now.
okay,
Okay. So, for example, there is some standard validation where a field is marked as required. Okay.
yeah.
And we are can we do and from the UI user is trying to insert some record and he is not filling that particular field. Okay. And there is some field called age.
Yeah,
Okay. Whenever the age is greater than 18, the name should be Adam.
name should be Adam.
And whenever
Yeah, my net connection is a bit down. Let me just give it a try 1 second. Mm,
Adam, Maria, whatever. Maria or Adam, based on the age factor, we are storing that name. So
no,
from the UI is the user is only entering the age, and from the trigger we are filling the mandatory field.
yeah.
So will it work?
Uh,
Are you sure of this?
you can actually by means there is a way like immediate equal to true. Like if it's a custom page, then you can use the immediate equal to true flag. Like it would bypass
No, it is
the
from the standard required field.
standard required field.
Let's
Yeah, you want to remove that required thing on the page layout.
go to contact. Let's go to contact. The last name, no, and the user is filling that value, and he is hitting the trigger. We are trying to we are doing the we are filling up the last name from the trigger.
Okay.
So will the user be able to hit the record?
So basically, what would it's around the order of execution. So what would happen? The first thing would be validation rules will get. So that's
Correct.
why the validation rules will get fired the very first time itself. The record is loaded before trigger. Yeah,
Possible,
before
but
yeah, in the before it would get
the
means
first of
populated.
all, I have we have the Even I didn't know the answer of that exactly.
No, it would
So
get
I
the error
told
won't
him it won't store because
error won't come because the first thing that would get executed is the before trigger. And sorry, my connection got a little bit disturbed.
um, I don't know the answer of this one, but as far as I remember the order of execution,
Yeah.
first we have the standard validation file. Then it won't even say execute the trigger.
Okay. Okay.
Trigger.
Give me
Because it
give me
is
1 minute. I
I didn't
think
get chance to do. Any of you have any guesses, or you can write?
I'm making you
Anyone?
host. I'm making you host, Satyam. I have
Mhm.
means some network connection issues happening.
So, okay. So any one of you can give the answer of this one. For example, we have a contact object, contact record we are trying to save without filling the last name, and we are writing a trigger, a before trigger on a contact object where we are filling the last name of a demo. Will the user be able to save the record from the UI? So this is a complete scenario and coding based question, includes order of execution. Okay, I guess you guys, even I don't know the answer. I have to do it in my system and will check. According to me, it should not be, the user should not be able to insert the record. Anyone have any questions or anything they want to share? They can simply share.
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Satyam, I want to ask you that so like I am facing a difficulty in trigger.
Okay.
So can I get assistance from your side if you'd like to give the assistance?
Actually, see, I'm pretty much occupied with so many of tasks. So I would help
Okay.
you if you're learning that. If you're stuck somewhere, I would love to help you, or any of you. Like, you
Okay.
can ping me directly. I'm ready to help
Okay.
you.
So how can I contact you? Like that is what I want to say.
You can Google Satyam T37. You'll get my LinkedIn or Insta or mobile. Everything you'll get it, I guess. I'm not pretty sure of it. I did it during my college days, the SEO thing, search engine optimization. So you can search Satyam, T for Tamil Nadu, then 37.
Satyam
37.
T7
37.
37. Okay.
Maybe you'll get
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
contact detail over here. So anyone,
So yeah,
anything.
as a
Mhm,
fresher, like I can say, I want to share like I am 2019 graduate,
mhm,
and also uh, I spent 4 months in Baidu, and then I left that and started learning Salesforce.
mhm.
So I am learning that Salesforce from the last 4 months.
Okay.
So 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 now I have started applying in the company as a
Mhm,
fresher. So I
mhm,
want to know that as a fresher, so what difficulty I will face in the interview because I have a huge gap because I am 2019 graduate and
mhm,
I have no any such experience, only 4 month experience in Baiju.
mhm, mhm.
So you can, yeah,
So even the first problem you're gonna face for the interview scheduling itself. See,
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
experienced
nice. Yeah,
candidate, it is very easy. They just simply apply and they'll get so many interview calls. And the interview schedule,
yeah,
they quickly give the interview. If there are 2, 3 rounds of interview, they'll quickly give it and get their offer letter. And for
yeah.
fresher, for your situation, I might not be able to answer. For the college students, because I got selected in campus only. So as far as I remember,
Hmm.
if there's some campus thing, then you must have to focus on your aptitude and English. In your case,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure if this is the case that you have to give these sort of shortlisting exams. So during my
Hmm.
campus time, we have to give so many these exams. Like where first we have to give the aptitude test, English test, then there is some GD
Yeah,
in some
yeah.
companies. Then we get shortlisted for the interview. Then our interview happens. So maybe in your
Okay.
case also this will happen since you are applying as a complete fresher. Then you have to prepare well for your aptitude and English as well, like
For which
grammatical.
company? For which company?
For any of the company, this is the
Uh,
question. Like they
yeah,
are
yeah. This is like
not
for the
like
company, like if you're not going, means if you're specifically going for Salesforce pressure, then they might directly go in the regular technical side only. But if you're going through an MNC like TCS or Infosys or anything big MNCs, they would always first thing that they would do is like your apti. Apti is the core important thing. Then it would be like GD. After GD, then it happens like the technical managerial uh, technical interview. After technical interview, then it's managerial interview, and then you get the offer.
And apart from that, they also ask one coding question. When I was a fresher, I'm talking about that time, I'm not very sure what is how the current placement are happening for the freshers. But from 1 or 2 years, last 1 or 2 years, this was the pattern. FT, English, coding mock MCQs, and one coding question that you can write in any of the language, C, C++, Java, JavaScript, whatsoever you know, Python. They'll give a simple scenario-based question, very simple, where you have to implement your logic. So your logic should be very clear. So you must know the basics like series, palindrome number,
These are pretty much simple, too much
and prime
simple.
various pattern using the loops.
Star pattern
For
also.
fresher, it is for fresher only he was asking.
Yeah, star
This
pattern, star
different pattern.
patterns.
Correct. They ask.
It actually checks
Where
your
you
apti level actually. How do you think? The entire intent in the corporate when you would never use the pattern, start pattern means there are almost negligible
yeah.
chances that, but it's more about like how you are able to think and think logically and apply that algorithmic approach. You see, it's all about thinking, how to think.
So that is the way as far as I remember. Then after this, no, then comes this interview part where you can forgive, the Salesforce, and it would be very easy for you. See, during my college, I got selected in many companies. Unfortunately, I chose the TCS. It should be the last company for everyone. So whoever is fresher, do not join TCS. This is my uh, advice. Take it for keep it for your retirement. Join it at very last.
Like I have also one doubt like कि अभी इतना जैसे रिसेशन वगैरह चल रहा है तो सेल्स फोर्स का एक्सपीरियंस के लिए मार्केट कैसा है मतलब उसी में ही परस्यू करना चाहिए मतलब क्या है जैसे मैं को अभी 1 ईयर एक्सपीरियंस है तो
हाँ हाँ
लाइक
हाँ
परस्यू लाइक मतलब अगर इसमें ही अपन अपनी कमांड करते हैं लाइक एक स्किल पकड़ लेते हैं तो लाइक
हम्म,
कैसा है मार्केट जस्ट वांट
So,
टू आस्क
so first, that means I will keep it in English so that some people might be there who don't understand Hindi. So for
यस
the, yeah, so the way I look at it is for short term, yes, you can rely on Salesforce and upskill yourself. But again, like it's the era of computers. We all know, like initially we learned C, then we learned C++, then Java, then Salesforce, right? So your main focus should be around the OOPs. Like, how do you think? The OOPs and the solid principles. Because languages would come, languages would go, but what would remain is the same concepts. You should always be able, means anytime you might be needing to learn, unlearn, and relearn as well. So be mentally prepared for that. That would be my advice.
Okay, I'll give more practical example what Ankit have said. See, I from my college time I know HTML, CSS, Ionic code, no HTML, CSS, C++, and DBMS. Okay, when I got into TCS, I trained in Java and MySQL. When I got my first project, I have to work in JavaScript. Then in my second project, I have to build a hybrid Android mobile application or a hybrid mobile application where I have to work on AngularJS. Then I have to work on TypeScript. After working on TypeScript for one of the application, I switched to Salesforce, where I have to work on Apex, which is very similar to Java. Currently, I'm learning LWC, which is similar to JavaScript. So when you learn the basics of programming, how to use the condition, how to uh, loop over the things, the loops, the conditions, and the collections in any particular programming language, you have to understand these three basics of all these three things. Then you are learning Salesforce now. You will easily learn Java and JavaScript both, and they have a big difference. Java and JavaScript are like car and carpet. दोनों का नाम सेम है कार कारपेट बट इट इज अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस so but you learn it if you're learning Salesforce if I if you know if your team or like in your company they ask you to work on some JavaScript thing you will be able to do so just be more flexible just focus more on the your logical
Basic concept.
ability
Yeah,
your
basic OOPs
basic
concept.
concept.
Also, it is unlikely that they won't, means already if you know Salesforce, since Salesforce is in demand, they would definitely prefer that since it would earn more revenue for them. But there might be, it's like companies take on that.
And let's come to your main question what about recession and all. So the market is down, but for it is better than Salesforce is performing better than other technologies.
Technologies.
Yes. So for example, even I recently opened up my profile for Open for Work. I got few interview calls and I got selected in most of them. Few I'm awaiting result. So yes, you will get a calls, but you have to be, you know, more confident on it that you know the things. You have to do more hands-on practice because even for me, they ask me questions like they're asking for a very good resource or the experienced resource. Some questions were like that, which I have discussed in one of the another call with Ankit, right? Ankit, if you remember.
Yeah, we did talk about multiple scenarios earlier as well.
Ah, correct.
Yeah. So basically, be always prepared. Like, no, always all the companies would ask you to do live coding. And the panel's more interest would be around like how you're thinking and how you're actually writing the going in the direction. Like, suppose you have to solve a problem. What's the first step you're taking, and what's the next step? His focus would be less on the syntax. His focus mostly would be around how you're approaching the problem.
Yeah, I have also question that I receive a message from the HR of Salesforce company for the position of like support engineer. So and tell me like what is the support engineer role, and the location was Hyderabad, and there she asked that should be readily available to work in any
Right.
shift.
Actually, this particular Salesforce support role, the Salesforce is, you know, hiring them very aggressively. Like they are hiring so many people. If I talk about you were asking about the market situation, na? Everybody is getting call from Salesforce, and especially from the Hyderabad location, and they are asking for the night shift. So what is the role and responsibility over there? You have to work on a support role basically. What is support role? So for example, if somebody raises any case, you have to work on that. Something like that you have to do.
Okay, so it is like the communication between the team and the client, kind of.
Correct.
Okay.
So there they will definitely check your communication skill. If you have HR must have asked you, do you have good communication skill? Or in the job description itself, they write it like that. Good communication skill, ready to work in night shift, and this is particular role and location is mostly they are taking for the Hyderabad now. I don't know why, but they are making it a hub or what, but they are hiring very aggressively. So any of you are trying, just apply for that role and get it referred over there. Most, if you even linked, if you go to the LinkedIn and search for Salesforce referral, now there are so many people who are referring there, and they are most of them are looking for the immediate joiner. So if you are an immediate joiner looking for a job in Salesforce, just go ahead and go for that particular role. You won't learn much over there, but at least you will have a job. You can learn, continue your studies like this, and then again switch. So nobody stayed more than few of my friends work over there, and they switched after 1 or 2 years because they told work is not very good, but at least you will get some pay if you're not working anywhere. A decent hike in a salary.
Hmm. Like anyone attending like women in tech Salesforce event?
Yeah, it would be.
Like it is in Jaipur.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be also attending. So let's meet then in the event.
Yeah, sure. Okay, then, and talking about recording, yes, I will be posting the recording in our WhatsApp group. So those who are not there, I believe all of you would be there, right?
Yes.
Okay, not a problem then. You can just.
Ankit, I talk like normal, like you're putting that recording now.
It doesn't really matter. It's like within the group only.
Okay, okay. There are so many people in the group.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, okay.
And 99.9% of the people won't actually go through the recording again. That also I can bet.
Okay, you can put it. I generally I feel like a bit nervous when somebody puts like that.
Actually, the most best conversation means best when you give means you give your best when you are at the being interviewed or being in your natural mode. That time you perform the best.
Correct, correct, correct. I agree. 100% agree on this.
Okay, then anybody has any specific questions or want to talk about any particular question? So we can kind of close this call.
Yeah, I just have one suggestion. Like we can do these kinds of session once a week or like whatever time you
Uh,
will be suitable
uh,
for you.
which session? Like these ones? Like talking about interview
Yeah,
question?
yeah,
Yeah.
like kind of sharing knowledge, I can say, with each
Okay.
other. Like,
On the companies and all. Yeah, we can
yeah,
try to do that. Yes. Actually,
yes.
nowadays, actually, it has been, to be very fair with you, I had a very tough day today. But I was like, I
Yeah,
already gave the commitment, means I just opened that slot. So to keep the uh, everyone means means whoever has done the booking. So I wanted to not break their promise. So I was like, let's keep it. Although that day went pretty harsh on me.
yeah, I understand. No problem.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Okay.
was a very nice session.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, then, so I'm considering like nothing from both sides, so we'll be just closing the call now.
Okay, Ankit, I guess we can close the call.
Okay, thank you. Bye.